a former prosecutor, I've tried many cases and children's cases in juvenile court, and some of the biggest murderers started out abusing animals as children. So he had all the red flags there, and he started his rap sheet in nursery school. Well, it seems that they're trying to be his friend. They're trying to warm him up so that he'll give as much information as possible. Interrogation is an art, it's a skill. It has to be honed. And they want to become his friend so he won't lawyer up and invoke his Miranda rights. They want to get as much information as possible to solve the crimes. And they played into his narcissistic and grandiose tendencies by allowing him to take credit and to brag for the art of killing. So the art of negotiation is one thing, but to Todd, the art of killing is another.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, as we discussed earlier, this started out by killing animals and having complete disregard for life, which a lot of the biggest murderers in this world, they all start out by harming animals. But what's really interesting about Todd Kohlhepp is not only is he a serial killer with the superbikes incidents, but he is a mass murderer.
Which
the mass murderer
about.
was the superbikes incident. And then
right.
he's a serial killer in that he has 7 dead bodies with a cooling off period in between. Most people are one or the other. He's both.
You're right. And
he has an anger problem because they were making fun of him. He thinks it's okay to shoot and kill 4 people.
And that's a great.
So narcissism, is that because legally there's no mental illness. He understood the difference between right and wrong. He's confessing because now they already caught him, so now he's giving his story and he's enjoying it. But he knows that it's wrong to kill someone, so he is not legally mentally ill. But are you saying he's mentally ill?
Right, I think that's a really important.
Under the law, there's no legal defense for his behavior. He might be crazy, but that's not legally insane. There's a clear difference.
Yeah.
And not to stray, but if anybody has paid attention to this story in the Amazon reviews, he bought his supplies online, and then he wrote reviews about a chainsaw, 5 stars, this one's great. If your neighbor's running, it's already hard to catch them, so this chainsaw is great. And this knife is wonderful. While I haven't used anyone or stabbed anyone with it yet, I'm keeping the dream alive. It was his way of bragging before he was caught.
Right.
By being able to brag with an initial under it and not being him, he was able to take credit for what he was doing on social media or on the internet and gloat without being held criminally responsible.
It makes him an expert on something. It makes him.
He's an expert at killing.
He's an expert.
He's
at
not
murder.
an expert at real estate. He's an expert at killing.
That's right. He's an expert, and he wants everyone to know.
What actually makes him pull the trigger? Because a lot of people watch these shows and they're really interested in the dark side and the making of a serial killer or the making of a murderer. Oh. What is it that actually sets him apart and makes him pull the trigger? But they didn't get him on rape. They got him on sexual assault. And sexual assault is a lesser version of the crime of rape. So if you're guilty of rape, you're guilty of sexual assault. But if you're guilty of sexual assault, you're not necessarily guilty of rape. And another charge they could have gotten him on, but they didn't, is false imprisonment. We don't know whether or not she was raped or not, and that might be hard to prove, and they already got him on dead bodies. So I don't know why he would care if they got him on rape, except for some psychological reason why he would care.
And that's it.
It would probably be very difficult to prove legally if it was rape versus sexual assault, but sexual assault was clear. They found her there. She was tied up. She was falsely, she was false imprisoned. She didn't want to be there. She was banging to get out.
Yeah.
They were at that point. They already had the murders. So
But imagine.
I mean, you could get into the psychology of this. I mean, when people get into certain things sexually, they get into the servant master mindset. So to him, it might not be rape, and to him, it is maybe they're role playing. For him, it's sexy to be partners in crime, right?
Right.
But no, and it's kind of it's sick if he thought he could train someone and make them sexually submissive to be a criminal and to continue his killing sprees. And that's exactly what he was going to do again. Just like he's killed multiple people, he is a creature of habit. And that's what serial killers do. And that is what his plan was if he wasn't going to get what he wanted from her. And you know what else I think? I think there are other victims. Someone with his mindset who's that sick has other victims out there that haven't been disclosed. I think there are more victims, but he is mentally deficient enough to bring up more victims because he just wants more credit, and he has nothing to do in jail but to sit there and relive the thrill of the kill. So he is reliving it by claiming more killings out there, and who knows if it's true. But I believe it is, since his rap sheet started from
Well, I agree with you.
toddler
I
age.
agree with you.
Well, before he talks about more bodies, right now he doesn't face the death penalty because he struck a deal. He agreed to waive all his right to appeals and get 7 consecutive sentences of life imprisonment, and that's it. Death penalty's off the table. The victim families got immediate closure. But if there are additional bodies out there, then those are additional charges and double jeopardy wouldn't apply, and he could be facing the death penalty. So before he starts really talking and gloating and bragging, I think he should get a lawyer, and a lawyer should negotiate a deal for him that if he's going to close additional cases, that the death penalty is also off the table.